Welcome to Joe Ciminera Presents. I'm Joe Ciminera. Today we're going to get started on a topic that every filmmaker is always asking themselves. How do I get started making a movie, and how do I find the funding to making a movie? The first thing that you have to do is get up off your tail and actually film something. That's number one. So a lot of people procrastinate. I mean, I'm on set all the time. Mostly my own set, where filmmakers come up to me and they say, oh, well, I want to start this project, but I'm waiting on this or I'm waiting on that, and I'm just going to do this project when I get this or when I get that or I get the funding. And really the reality is people just don't know where to find funding for their film. So, a lot of people come up to me and they say, will you fund my film? I mean, if I had $1 for every time someone came up to me and asked me to fund their film, I wouldn't have to be in the film industry. I'd be owning an island somewhere in the Bahamas. But the reality is most filmmakers are not able to really put it in their brain that the filmmaking business is a business. It's not a hobby. And the minute you stop telling yourself that it's a hobby is when you'll treat it like a business and it'll make money for you. So I think a lot of what the problem is for making films is first and foremost to give yourself an excuse not to do it. You need to put realistic goals on the table and say, okay, today's October, and come May, I'm going to have this movie finished and filmed. And that's really what you have to do. You have to put goals on the table, whether they're realistic or not. In the movie industry, there really aren't too many realistic goals. There's, shoot for your achievements, hope for the best, and stay motivated and hungry. And that's at the end of the day. Now, another mistake that a lot of filmmakers make is where they're going to get the funding. Okay, so I have to finish this video in my office upstairs because the crew is setting up in the green screen where I was before, and I'm being kicked out. They have to set up for another shoot. So in talking back to this whole situation here with filmmaking and what I can give, what kind of advice I can give to young entrepreneurs, I mean, I like doing these videos. I mean, these videos don't make me any money. I want to do them a little more frequently, but I just don't have the time. I sure as hell don't make any money off of YouTube. Those jackasses banned me on this channel for making any money because I have an opinion and a mouth, and that's not going to change. So there are other ways, and that's a good creative point. There are plenty of ways of making money in the filmmaking business that you don't have to kiss ass on a YouTube channel and try to get revenue from it. So let's go back to filmmaking in general, and we'll have another conversation about ass kissing and what not to do. So, with the whole filmmaking business, right, you may think to yourself, okay, maybe I'll fund it on my own, maybe I'll get an investor, but there's a lot of creative ways, and the best thing to do is somebody just getting into this business, or somebody that's been in the business 20 years and they haven't woken up yet, is to definitely do product placement. That's going to be your best bet, is to line yourself up with these brands. I've said this before. I even have a course on it. Go to joeciminera.com if you haven't signed up for it. It will save you time and money. But the reality is, if you have a little bit of sales experience, you don't need the course. But, you have to align yourself with brand people in the industry. What does that mean? Okay, that means that if you're filming a show outside in a beautiful time of the year in the summertime or whatever, and you have a scene where there's two people riding a bike down the street. All right, you're going to grab BMX or another kind of bicycle company, and you're going to approach 1 or 100 until somebody says that they're agreeing to give you money to showcase and use their brand in that actual show. And that's how you start that process. It's not about you're going to take money from investors. You better make sure that they don't need the money back, because the film industry has changed, okay? And it's hit or miss. Now, if you do your calculations on the film industry when you get into it and you say, okay, should I mortgage my house to do this film? Should I borrow money from an investor that's just not going to leave me alone? I mean, those people, once you take their money, you've taken a portion of their life, and they are not going to stop until you pay them back. Short of your uncle or relative or something like that, which probably after you don't pay them back, they're not going to talk to you anymore, and they'll probably look at you like you're a loser every time you see them at a family function. So you want to stay clear. Don't crap in your own backyard. You know what I mean? Go outside and get professional people, get corporations to pay you for your brand, to pay you for your film, and then put those products inside the body of the program, right? I've been doing it for years, man, decades. You know, that's how I've been doing this game. So, and I hear the conversations all the time from filmmakers, you know, and a lot of them are sad stories, man, you know, that they've used all their inheritance money to make their project, this, that, the third. And, you know, it sucks if you don't have the knowledge. I'm trying to give you free knowledge here, so take it with a grain of salt, or just enjoy seeing my handsome face here in front of the camera. But hopefully at the end of the day, you'll take some of my advice and learn that the filmmaking process, number one, really doesn't require a lot of money. So anybody that says, oh, I need all this money to raise, you know, to start making the film, they're just inexperienced, because nobody makes a film cheaper than Joe Ciminera, and the quality looks great. And the reason why I do that is because I know how to pull resources. Okay, I know how. I'm not gonna, you know, pay an astronomical, whatever the fuck. I'm not gonna pay a large portion of anything to have a poster made. I'm not going to pay an editor an exorbitant amount of money to sit there for $500 an hour, or $250 an hour, even $100 an hour, while I'm telling them what to cut. I'm not going to pay a film crew that doesn't have the same passion as me, that wants a shit ton of money per day, no matter how much the budget is. I mean, the only other film set I've ever been on in my life is Martin Scorsese's, and that's because I was invited. Who would say no to that? And the money I saw wasted on that, though, was great to see it, but it definitely is not my budget. Nobody's giving me $140 million to make a film. It's just not happening. So anytime that I come up with an idea and I want to shoot to make a movie, which I make a movie because I want to make a movie. I don't make a movie because my distributor says, hey, Joe, you should make a movie on, you know, saving the alligators in the Amazon or something like that. That's not how I make films. I make films because I want to make films, and the films get done because I want them to get done. And that's the attitude that you need to have in this business. You need to go and get yourself an idea. Say, I'm gonna film this movie by X amount of months. That's when it's gonna be done. I'm not gonna start. It's gonna be done in an amount of months. This is my distribution plan, and the distribution plan is simple. Now, I've given you a million different distributors on what to use here. I've taught, you know, I don't want to talk more than 6 minutes because people are gonna start changing the channel. But look at the other past videos. You'll see the distributors that I recommend. Half of them are full of crap. Maybe 80% are full of crap. But there's a couple that are still good, and they can distribute your film. But it's a math situation, right? You have to do the numbers. How many downloads can you possibly get on Amazon or some other platform to yield you that kind of money, right? And the only thing that's going to be different about that is how good the quality of film is, if you have a name in there, etc. That's what's going to move up your chances. But all the filmmakers have the same outlet. They're all delivering their films to the same outlets. The only thing that's going to change is if yours is set apart, if it really gets recognized, if it stands out of the ordinary, and it's going to get more eyeballs than the filmmaker behind you, and that's what's going to increase your visibility and stuff like that. But don't spend a $250,000 budget on an independent feature and hope to get that back on VOD platforms. It's not going to happen. It's not. Just being honest with you. If you're doing anything right, you'll be filming that movie, lights, camera, action. I'm going to try my best to put up some fresh content every day, and I hope it helps you. God bless.